Hello. Testing. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm not gonna say too much because I am testing one thing in this stream. I'm gonna be testing this song. I just want to see if this song gets hit with the copyright strike because it shouldn't. Um, I just saw recently a lot of people use this song and they weren't hit with copyright. Unfortunately, when I've played it, I've been hit with a copyright. Um, and it's annoying the crap out of me. So I'm just gonna let this play first before we jump into anything specific when it comes to this game. Um, Overall, though, I think this is kind of a very weird game. A lot of threes taken tonight by the Bulls, so um, this is insane to look at, but I do appreciate that they're continuing to hit their shoot their threes, I should say. Continue to pass the ball pretty well, so um, that's always good to see. And I think overall the defense, while it is the Charlotte Hornets without LaMelo Ball, um, I do appreciate the defensive effort was better tonight. Um, so just gonna continue to let this play through first. All right, cool. All right, we're gonna stop that now, and we'll shift over to a playlist that I know will not get me DMCA striked. So give me just a second here, as I do pull that up. All right, cool. All right, we're up and running now. All right, this is overall an interesting game. Probably not the best game to watch, honestly. I mean, lack of shots made. Bulls just shot abysmal 27% from 3-point range, but they took the threes, so I appreciate that they continue to take their threes, which is great. 27 assists, so the Bulls continue to move the basketball. This is a Charlotte Hornets team that is pretty awful, especially without LaMelo, so I think this sort of formula that we saw tonight in terms of shooting percentage and how they played on offense doesn't really win you a lot of games, but they went out and won the game. So good job by the Bulls to win it, I guess. This team, though, has obviously some serious problems without LaMelo, and they just have some problems in general. So not exactly a shocker to the Bulls win it. I guess I'm just a little bit shocked that they won it in this sort of fashion, but it seriously does help when the opposing team, when you shoot 27% from 3-point range, they shoot 17%. That does really help. So, yeah, not a great night to watch if you wanted to watch them scoring, because this was not a good scoring game whatsoever. A lot of misses, a lot of weird shots, a lot of questionable shots taken. I think you could say by both teams, honestly. So, yeah, just some misses that were just very cringeworthy, I would probably say. Unnecessary shots taken, some pretty bad misses overall. So yeah, just overall, just weird game. But Bulls came out on top. And we'll just talk about that overall. So quick look at the game charts. This is kind of what I was watching for tonight. These two categories. No Vucevic tonight because Vuce is out with illness. So that I think was a little bit of a shocker to kind of all of us. And him being out, this was honestly, if you're really hoping for a Bulls win, this was probably like the worst time for Vuce to be out, because the Hornets, they actually have some serious size. They're pretty good on the glass overall. And Vuce is a guy that will kind of help just kind of nullify their sort of like, tendencies on the Hornets' tendencies to really be like a tenacious rebounding team overall. So this was kind of like poor timing, but I think the Bulls did a good job of understanding, okay, we're without Vooch tonight. Let's make sure that we continue running solid offense. Let's get out more in transition especially with Jalen Smith in the starting lineup, which they obviously did. But the biggest thing is that we cannot lose the inside interior battle too much. So as you can see, 52 points to the paint to 46 points in the paint. Bulls did a good job there. Obviously they lost it, but it wasn't a significant loss. The second chance points was a little bit lopsided. 19 is too many, even without Vucevic, but still, though, I think the Bulls did a decent job at the end of the day. So they didn't let those two categories absolutely just wreck them, because if they did, then the Bulls could have easily lost this game, even without LaMelo Ball playing. But Bulls took care of business. They did a good job of that. Obviously, then they played to their strengths, which is shoot a bunch of threes, get out in transition, play with a lot of assists, a lot of passing, high tempo, which they did a good job of it. So I'm proud of them for that. And I think that with this break that we just had, I know it's been a while, so hello everybody. I think the Bulls defense, even though it is against the Hornets, I'm aware it's the Hornets, and the Hornets are without LaMelo specifically. I'm aware that's the team that we faced tonight. I do think, though, that they did better tonight. I think that they did a much better job switching on defense, which is what is necessary for this team. Again, not asking for anything spectacular defensively. I'm just asking that they play the defensive scheme correctly, and not have mental breakdowns in the middle of every single possession. The Hornets obviously lack a lot of scoring without LaMelo, lack a lot of playmaking, lack a lot of shooting. But I think the switching on ball and off ball was much better tonight from the Bulls. There are obviously still some moments where the switching, miscommunications, whatever, but the switching overall was much better tonight, and it needs to continue just being better. So happy to see that the Bulls took the time that they had off, which is that they had 4 days off. They did not do anything on Monday. That was a scheduled off day, but then they took the other 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday, to just scrimmage, practice, get the schemes down. They did a good job, in my opinion, from what I've seen from this game. Bulls now have 2 more days of rest, so we'll see what the plan is moving forward in terms of scrimmage, practice, whatever. But I hope that this break was kind of helpful for a lot of guys, and seems to me that the schemes are a little bit better and kind of on defense to make sure that the switching is up to date, and we're not seeing like a very bad possession where guys miss like 5 switches in middle one possession. So good to see overall from this Bulls team tonight. What's going on, Charles? Hi Terrell, how y'all doing? I know it's been a little bit. I do appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate y'all checking in on a Friday night to check in on the stream. Odd game, don't y'all think? This is a very odd game. I think this was just not something to really, if you wanted offense, this was not the game to watch in terms of offense. A lot of missed threes, a lot of weird shots taken, some awkward misses, just yeah. 39% for the Bulls, 35% for the Hornets. I mean, not great to see that. 27% from 3 for the Bulls, 17% for the Hornets. Part of it, I think, is Bulls better defensively than they've been, but this was I think that both teams were just either rusty or things just weren't exactly going to plan for them tonight. Obviously, injuries were a big key factor for the Hornets tonight. But I think that overall the the defense is better. It's just that it shouldn't be this much better. 17% for 3 for Hornets. That's bad. It was atrocious, honestly, seeing some of the threes that they were taking and just missing. Very bad tonight for the Hornets in terms of 3-point percentage and just percentage overall. Again, this was just, if you wanted offense, this was not the game to watch. This was a very bad offensive game for both teams, honestly. The Bulls were just a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. Brandon Miller took 15 threes tonight. If you were wondering what was happening tonight, Brandon Miller took 15 threes tonight. So he basically just kind of took over for what LaMelo was doing consistently for this team, which is launch a bunch of 3-point shots. And of course, Miller only made 3 of the 15, which is insane. 7 turnovers also, by the way, for Brandon Miller. So if you want to credit Bulls defense, sure. I wouldn't really say that a lot of the credit deserves to go to the Bulls defense, but not great from Brandon Miller tonight. 21 points, but not good efficiency. 7 turnovers. That's not a very good game. I understand LaMelo's out. He's kind of the main guy, but dear Lord. Yeah, not great. But I mean, honestly, just go up and down this Hornets team in terms of three-pointer shot and missed. Josh Green 1 of 5. Miles Bridges 0 for 6. I mean, Micic is 1 for 7. Cody Martin is 1 for 5. I mean, it just is just terrible. And funnily enough, Seth Curry actually got minutes tonight, and he didn't attempt a three-point shot. Out of all people for the Hornets to not attempt a three-point shot, you would think that Seth Curry should get a three-point shot tonight out of the 46 that they attempted, especially when you're shooting poorly. But somehow, some way, Seth Curry, even though he only played like 5 minutes, did not attempt a three-point shot. He didn't attempt a shot at all, which is insane to me. Out of all people, he did not attempt a three, but Brandon Miller took 15 tonight. It's just crazy. Yeah, I won't lie. I think the Hornets were just not willing to play tonight. I don't exactly know what the Hornets schedule was coming into this game. I should probably just have to look at that right now. I'm gonna guess that they also had probably a long break too between games, because the Bulls had a pretty significant break. So yeah, they did. Yeah, their last game was December 8th against Indiana. So not shocking to see that the Hornets had a pretty long break too. I think both teams after this long break, so they at least had, both teams had at least 4 more days of rest. Both teams were rusty. I think you can just kind of see the rust. Timing was a little bit off for a lot of guys on offense in terms of shots. Just offensive sync overall. So not too shocking to see that. This is not that abnormal for guys that suddenly you're playing every other day, so then you have 4 or 5 days off. That's not too shocking. Guys might have been a little bit out of game shape tonight, but I think you can kind of see that even some of the other scores around the NBA tonight are a little bit awkward, just due to the longer break that they just had. But at the end of the day, the Bulls were the better team. They did their job, and I think that overall, while the shooting did suck, I think that they did their job and they played the correct way. So I appreciate that. At the end of the day, there's a block party tonight. I think Buzelis had some really awesome blocks to watch if you weren't able to watch it. Jalen Smith had 5 blocks tonight. It's kind of surprising just to see that. I do think that some of them were kind of helped in terms of the Hornets just like helped them get blocks. So that was cool to see. But it was a block party tonight. We saw Jalen Smith have 5 and Buzelis have 3. So between them, they had 8. So nice overall thing to see. The Bulls get some blocks because they don't usually get too many at the end of the day. I think, just want to point it out, I think Ayo has continued his great play in the starting lineup. Ayo's percentages coming into tonight as a starter was about 56% from the field and 38% from 3, and averaging about 16 points per game. That obviously increased tonight, with 8 of 12 shooting for 19 points, so that's cool to see. So I'm interested to see what Donovan does, honestly. What's Donovan gonna do when P. Will gets back to like being fully in game shape? But yeah, I don't know what Donovan's gonna decide to do, because Ayo's been really good in the starting lineup, better than Patrick Williams, if we're counting him as replacing P. Will, which he basically has. So I'm interested to see what Donovan does. I wouldn't be opposed to just starting Ayo from here on out, because he's been so good in the starting lineup. But yeah, we'll see about that. Giddey overall had a really nice game. I think he's starting to kind of adjust to his more of an off-ball role. One of the things that I liked early on is that he was getting some offensive rebounds. That's something that I think he needs to continue doing, because if he's going to be more of an off-ball sort of player, then this is something that he can have an effect on. So continue doing that. That's cool to see. The biggest thing tonight, though, is that the Bulls use Giddey more of like a screener tonight than I think they've used him all season long. The Bulls have had Giddey, with the ball more, kind of more of like a decision maker on the perimeter. Tonight, with Vooch out, he was kind of the initial like main screener for the team. So I think that was a kind of a nice switch up by Donovan to kind of use Giddey as like the screener, and maybe have him in positions where he could be a good passer off of setting his screen. So that was cool to see. The biggest thing, though, for me is that Giddey's defense tonight, again, it is against the Hornets, just like how I am saying it, just no matter what. Like, it's against a Hornets team without LaMelo Ball, and they also are coming off of 5 days rest. So they're rusty, no LaMelo. Bad team overall. So there is that. But I do appreciate Giddey's defense tonight. That needs to continue for Josh Giddey moving forward. He has to play just solid defense. I'm not asking for amazing. I'm just asking for just solid defense. And I think Giddey will adjust to that off-ball role where he has to be more effective on the defensive end of the court. That was a kind of a good blueprint, like what we saw tonight. You know, getting the offensive rebounds, shooting the catch-and-shoot three-point shot with no hesitation. That's good. Being a good defender out there, getting, you know, steals, like, and helping out on drives. That's good. So that needs to continue. Turnovers, I mean, I'm not going to be too harsh on him about it, but this is a formula for Giddey. Just now it's about, can he replicate it? So yeah, that'll be kind of the thing to watch overall. Buzelis, if you're on the Buzelis watcher, not a great game for him in terms of shooting. I think he's moving really well still. I think on both ends of the court, blocking shots still pretty effectively. The thing is, though, is that you can very clearly tell when he tries to finish at the basket, he is not ready to finish amongst the trees just yet. So that, you know, he'll get stronger, hopefully, and he'll adjust to it, but he needs to be, you know, he has to make some adjustments in terms of finishing at the rim, because the Hornets do have some size, and we saw the size really affect him at the basket tonight. He did make a three, which was the only shot made. So with Buzelis, it's all about, you know, he's going to seriously figure out the adjustment to how to finish at the basket consistently, especially when there are shot blockers out there. So there's that. Last but not least, I do want to point out, so Patrick Williams did return tonight. This was important for a lot of Bulls fans. So when he did go out, I was telling you guys, like, hey, he's probably out for like 3 weeks, and that ended up being the story. So not surprising there, but he did return. He missed 10 games. He's finally back. He came off the bench. 20 to 24 minutes was the minutes restriction. Though I did tweet out though that, like, I could see him playing less, and that's exactly what he did tonight. He only played about 14 minutes. So not shocked at that. I think Billy is going to be really cautious with P. Will. I think that's a smart decision. So while he may be allowed to play 20 to 24 minutes right now as the minutes restriction, I can maybe only see him playing like 16, and I think that's fine as he kind of gets back into game shape. So I think that's a smart thing for P. Will. Be cautious with him. We'll see what the decision is once he gets back to being fully in game shape and ready to, you know, start again. But for now, I think this is fine. I think this is a fine decision by Donovan to just ease him in. Don't push it. Let's just be cautious with him and make sure that he is feeling 100% as he moves forward and not anything else. So yeah, kind of just individual stuff tonight. Nothing really else. Again, no Vucevic. If you're wondering, no Dalen Terry either. No Torrey Craig. So the only two guys who didn't play that was available tonight was Javon Carter and Chris Duarte. So Donovan pretty much used everybody that we kind of are looking at as important. So overall, I do appreciate. Yeah, so it was a short. Mish was a short. Mish short of his usual 3 for 10 star for shooting every game before it goes better. Yeah, I won't lie, man. I was hoping that this break for Kobe was gonna help him, and he honestly just did not. Nothing really like clicked for him until like the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much like over. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with Kobe because I thought that this like little break, again, four day break for the Bulls. I was hoping that he would kind of use this time to kind of just get right. He obviously was dealing with the ankle issue before, so I was just like, okay, you know, get 4 days rest, just get healthier, and hopefully you'll come back and just kind of be better. I am aware though that there is also rust, so I'm hoping this is just a rust sort of issue tonight for Kobe White. But yeah, he is having kind of a really kind of struggling month of December so far. I know he's missed some games, but for right now, if we're looking at the month of December for Kobe, it has not exactly been the best in terms of efficiency, specifically. it's been going a little bit downhill for him as of recent times. So I guess this was only his third game of December because he's missed some time actually. So maybe this is not exactly the best thing to look at because he's only played now 3 games in December. But coming into tonight for December, he's shooting 33% from the field and 30% from 3 in the 2 games. So yeah, it just hasn't been a good run recently. I was hoping it was maybe an injury that was just like kind of hampering Kobe, but it seems to be a little bit more than that. Hopefully he'll kind of figure it out. But yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled with how he's looking so far. Who's good at following someone who blows by him? Yeah, Buzelis is, again, ball hawking, recovery is just great. I love it, and I hope that we continue to see it. Smith was nice out there, but the rim protection is weak with him there, and they had to call that time very fast in the Booze lineup to fix that. I think that's just something we should expect. Again, like 5 blocks for Jalen Smith tonight. I don't want you guys to take that as like, oh my god, we got a rim protector. He is not that good of a rim protector. I do think the Hornets kind of helped them out in terms of, available shots to be blocked. And I do think that's not in like a exaggeration. I think some of the Hornets just basically were like, here, block my shot. Smith is pretty athletic. I think we all see it, but yeah, like it's just he has not been a good overall defender this year, and his rim protection is just not there. I think he has some of the tools to be like a decent rim protector, but his kind of just his instincts just isn't there. Maybe he'll get better. Maybe this is a start, but I don't. I don't really think that's just it's going to suddenly just become great for Jalen Smith in terms of rim protection. So I don't really think that's something that we should be expecting moving forward. But overall, though, I think that Jalen Smith being starting lineup, obviously Vooch is out. I think it was important to kind of see how Jalen Smith kind of worked with the starters. I think he moves well within the offense. I think they did a good job of like understanding like, okay, he's not Vooch, so we're not posting him up. He's going to be less involved in the pick and roll, and so we saw that Smith was kind of in the corner a lot. I think that's fine. I think that's an okay thing to kind of use him there in the starting lineup in a sense. And we saw some nice overall sets to kind of get him open for some 3-point shots kind of above the break, so that was cool. But still, I do think that Jalen Smith is probably just on his way to being a bench player for this team. I think he just more effective off the bench, and I think that's okay. I like him a lot still, but in terms of being the center of the future, probably not going to happen at the end of the day. So they immediately get Giddey leave the corner man way more open on 3 plays in a row, so they can secure defensive rebounds. They just missed 2-3 in a row. Yeah. So if Giddey can understand like that timing, right, then that's very helpful. That will be very, very good. For Giddey to just like use that to his advantage, and hopefully that continues. Obviously his size is helpful, but positioning is always key. And if Giddey can come from the corner, which he is in more of now consistently, then yeah, I'll gladly take that if you can find ways to get the offensive rebound for being in the corner. Giddey had the ball heat more than Kobe tonight, which is noticeable dip in their overlap minutes. I do think that was the case. I do think Kobe was a little bit more off ball than usual for what we typically see. And even when Giddey wasn't out there, like we saw Io was actually handling the ball a lot more when it was the Kobe Io in the second unit. So yeah, I think we'll see with Kobe. Maybe he just wants to be a little bit more off ball with this, injury that he's dealing with. But I'm hoping that Kobe can find his way back. Please, BD had people come off the bench. I think that was not just Billy Donovan, but like a staff decision. I think that was fine. I think Kobe next to always starts 3 for 10. He only looks better even the first games of the season after he has that volume. He just hasn't shot over 10 shots off for a while. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like he recently definitely, it's been like bad shooting early. Like even if it's not like 3 for 10, like he'll just like start like 1 for 8, or like he'll start like 0 for 5, and you're just like, okay. So yeah, I'm hoping that he'll figure it out, but yeah, I'm concerned with him. Have a dozen games a screenshot of him at 10 shots at 3 of 3 of those, and like, starts to streak for the ones he took more after. Streaky guy, you know. What we've always said with Kobe. Great for the Taj chance tonight. That was awesome. I'm so happy that so first and foremost, Cliff Lee deserves a lot of shout out and praise for that. Cliff Lee did not need to put in Taj Gibson at the end of the game, and he did. I do appreciate that sincerely. Taj has always been a guy that I have loved in Chicago. I thought he should have won Sixth Man of the Year in 2014, I think it was. So yeah, I'm so happy that Taj got to go back in. It's also cool that Casey Johnson reported that Taj will be in Chicago for the Derrick Rose. I guess is that official now? Like Derrick Rose retirement ceremony or whatever. His number. So I hope, at least I hope that's official. Yeah, I'm really happy though that when Derrick returns that Taj is going to be in the building. So I do appreciate that. The schedule just lined up perfectly so that he'll be available to come into Chicago. So that's awesome to see. But yeah, just seeing Taj and all the Bulls fans chanting his name just to get into the game, like saying we want Taj, is just awesome. I honestly cannot believe that Taj Gibson is still in the league. It's crazy just to even see that, but that's awesome just to see, and I hope that Bulls fans will never forget Taj Gibson, and we'll see how many years he has left, man. I mean, at this point though, for Taj, like this is probably the end of the road for him. He was playing in a lot of games earlier because of injuries for the Hornets, but I mean, he's 39 now. I mean, like as you can see, like he got minutes. Like he played in 13 games. I guess I don't know if tonight counted, but yeah, like, he's been playing in some games. So I seriously doubt that he's gonna be playing in a lot, you know, in the future. I think this is kind of it for him. But he's lasted a very long time. Like he lasted a while in this league. 2009-10, first year in, to now suddenly, I mean, it's 24, 25, and he's still on a team. And honestly, just like the way that his game is, like he lasted so long because he's more of a mobile big. He's not as tall, but he was pretty good defensively. He can move his feet pretty well. So, yeah, just awesome to see. I wish that he could have stayed on the Bulls longer. I was not happy with the trade when it happened. We all remember that trade. Taj Gibson for Campaign, Doug McDermott, and a second-round pick going to the Thunder for Campaign, Anthony Morrow, and Joffrey Laverne. Not happy about that trade whatsoever. I think that was a horrific trade. But I will always love Taj Gibson. This year though, this specific year, the 2013-14 season. So that was the year the Bulls traded Luol Deng in the middle, like early in the year, and it was because the Bulls offered Luol Deng a contract extension, and Deng turned it down, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna trade you. Derrick got injured, so that was Derrick's return year, right, from the ACL. He got injured. And so like Butler was kind of like the guy, quote unquote. DJ Augustine was on this team, but Gibson came off the bench, right? Gibson came off the bench this year, and this was just this year where Taj went from Taj has always been like that defensive guy, right? I mean, like you can kind of look at his numbers before, but he significantly jumped his scoring ability this year. I always remember it in that preseason. It just seemed like Taj couldn't miss from in preseason, and like he seemed to have like his post game down. He was hitting every mid range shot, and he went on to have one hell of a year off the bench. Thibodeau would just do this thing though. It was just really weird, but Boozer would play the entire first and third quarters, and then Gibson would finish the games at power forward. I do think Gibson was playing really well overall, but I was hoping that Gibson this year, because he came off the bench for almost every single game, I was really hoping that he would win Sixth Man of the Year this year. I do believe that it went to Jamal Crawford, but Crawford, I was so upset, bro. As well, I love Jamal Crawford, so I'm not like trying to flame him, but that same year, Crawford had a lot of games as a starter, as you can see here. He had 24, and again, it's not like half the season, but I was just a little irked. But yeah, Crawford's numbers at the end of the day are always Crawford numbers, which is, this, like, obviously he should probably win it if you're scoring 19 a game off the bench. But I really wanted Taj Gibson to win it this year as a sixth man. Yeah, this was the year. 8 games only, starting 82 games. Just awesome. This is just an awesome year. He came in second in sixth man of the year voting this year. And yeah, that was obviously the biggest like Taj Gibson memory, but we saw the dunk on D Wade earlier, which everyone remembers that. I personally remember the dunk on Chris Humphries in the 2013 NBA playoffs against the Nets. I think it was Game 3 where Taj just absolutely just dunked on Chris Humphries, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, just an absolute pro. Everyone loves Taj Gibson. And yeah, I'm happy he got to come into the game tonight. I'm hoping that we'll get to see more of him at the end of the day. And in Kobe's was actually sort of nice too. Keeps space higher than Kobe. I like that, especially for those especially. I do think Ion always pushes pace better. Kobe is sort of out of control at moments, but also Kobe's like he's a little hesitant sometimes to keep pushing pace. But yeah, I think overall, again, I want to see Kobe get some more on-ball stuff as he hopefully gets healthier. But yeah, I do like Io always getting the ball, especially off a rebound. I think that's a good idea. Ben Gordon should have said he was never the same after he left. Ben Gordon is interesting. So I personally was not watching the Bulls when Ben Gordon was like really on the team. I've actually met Ben Gordon in person. I have had the honor to do so. I hope he's doing well though. I'm sure that you guys know about Ben Gordon like recently. He hasn't had like the best overall off the court stuff recently. He's had some bad moments. But I've gotten to meet Ben Gordon in person. I got to actually do a presentation for him. It was for Bulls Fest. He came into one of my classes, and our job was to basically we were pitching Bulls Fest ideas to the director of alumni. I don't remember his full name, so I do apologize for that. But we were basically just pitching ideas to the Bulls on what they could do for Bulls Fest. And this is the kind of just like the first time they're going to do Bulls Fest since COVID, so it was a big deal. And Ben Gordon was there. He came in and was there for all the presentations. We got feedback from him. I got to shake his hand. Like it was just cool to see Ben Gordon in person. I do know Ben Gordon's career. Like yeah, he was never the same after he left. He went to Charlotte. Never the same. Yeah, Ben Gordon, obviously it would have been cool just to see him also kind of stick around. But yeah, things happen. Tajay Robb, 6th man of the year. Yeah, it's tough. I like, if you're just objectively speaking, because like we're Bulls fans, right? So like we want Taj to win this. But if we're objectively speaking, because Jamal Crawford did not like hit 41 games, or like he didn't play half or more than half his games as a starter. This is insane. Like this is arguably his best 6th man of the year. Like he's won multiple, but like that was probably his best year as a 6th man. So objectively speaking, this is probably the right decision to give Jamal Crawford that award that year. But I really wanted Gibson to get it, because Gibson was just really phenomenal this year as well. But we don't get to decide the voting at the end of the day. Taj gave you scoring, rebounding, and defense. Yeah, that year when Taj like increases scoring ability like to a humongous just big difference is like, it was just crazy to watch. To see Gibson go from like a defensive, like a mainly just a defensive stopper, to like he can be a legitimate scorer off the bench for you. Like, yeah. Fun number. Kobe split by half this season. Shoots 6% better in the second half. Shoots 6% better in the first half than he does in the second. In contrast, so that's actually interesting. Yeah, I can believe that. That makes a lot of sense for Kobe, honestly. Yeah. Let's see here. So, okay, so these are officially Kobe's numbers now for the month of December. Not great percentage-wise, obviously. Yeah, 35, 28%, not great. Still 16 points per game though. That's good. That needs to continue, but yeah, not great percentage-wise overall. That personally does not show the first and second half difference, but I do want to look at that. Sorry, I just saw Taj Gibson's nickname, Hard Hat Lunch Pail. Always remember that. Let's see. Oh, this one doesn't actually show it either. Oh, great, awesome. Let's see here. What website are you using, Charles? For the first and second half splits? Oh, actually, I guess we can. Is this how you do it? Oh, here we go. First half. So far this year, Kobe is shooting 39% in the first half. That's great. Let's just see. He shoots 45% in the second half. Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, I don't know what it is, bro. Kobe this year in the first half just has not been as good. Lot of just not great first half performances, especially like the first quarter. Like first quarter has just not been good for Kobe. Like more recently again. Like I'm not saying it's been like every game. Like I think we all remember the Milwaukee Bucks game, the second game of the season, where he was just pretty much just on fire all game. But yeah, it's been a struggle for Kobe in the first half, as you can see here. 39% from the field is not great. 34% also isn't just, it's just not that good either from 3-point range. Averaging about 8 points, which is that's typical Kobe, like eight points and a half, but you know, he goes up to 10 in the second half, better percentages. Similar amount of shots, obviously. So yeah, that's Kobe White for you. I wouldn't be, honestly, I'm being real, I would not be shocked if let's say in the second half, like let's say after All-Star break, these numbers are flipped, where just because he's Kobe, like let's say at All-Star break, his first half numbers suddenly are much better than his second half. That's just typical Kobe. I honestly would not be shocked if somehow it flips at All-Star break, where he's a better first half shooter than a second half, even after this sort of like bad start to the year in the first half. That would be typical Kobe White at the end of the day. Once again, I don't think Kobe has been bad this year. I want to just make that clear. Also, these are not. Wait, what? That is incorrect. These are not his. That's not the right numbers for Kobe. He is not averaging 1 assist per game. That is flat out insane. Okay, cool. So get to know that NBA.com is having an absolute just. I don't know what's happening here, but. So here's Kobe's numbers. Actually, he's actually 4.6 assists per game. But I don't think Kobe's having like a bad year. Like I want to make that clear. I don't think he's not having like a bad year. I just think that expectations were higher of him. He's not, you know, he's not meeting those expectations or exceeding them. Obviously, it's similar to last year in a sense, but you can just kind of see that because that Levine is back, Vooch is having such a good year. Like he's now like the third option technically, and I think just the impact just feels less from him. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's just that he is kind of met his peak. Don't know if he'll ever get to 20 points per game ever. I know he was close last year, but I just think that this is just kind of his peak, and we just kind of see the ebbs and flows of him, especially on a team that relies a lot on him for offense. However, if he's on a less role where he can go be a 6-man or kind of be more of a just having less responsibility on his shoulders, honestly, I think he'd be a really effective sort of guy in that sort of role. I don't know if that means he needs to go be like the backup point guard somewhere. So like, let's say for example, he was the backup point guard for the New York Knicks instead of Campaign. I think he could have some success there. So I don't know if it needs to be backup point guard or maybe he's backup shooting guard somewhere, but I think he can have a lot of success in that sort of role. But as a starter, again, it's not bad. I think you obviously will take 18 points per game from a starting shooting guard or combo guard or whatever. But it's just that you shouldn't be relying on him to give you 20 points consistently per night on amazing efficiency. That's just not going to happen from him. So he can play a lot of different roles just because I do think he can be a starter in this league. But yeah, overall though, it's just not shocking to me that he's had some consistency issues this year, because that's Kobe White. We've seen it his entire career. Not knocking him, it's just that's just who he is. Kobe seems to be having down here trying to adjust his 2-guard after playing point guard for so long, having a hard time adjusting, it seems. So Woodage, my only issue when people say that, because it's like, did Kobe play the point last year? Like, technically, yeah, Kobe was the point last year. But if we're being honest, right? Kobe's role this year is very similar to last year. What I mean by that is, Kobe, like, yeah, he was the point last year, but he wasn't the guy initiating all the offense consistently, right? DeMar DeRozan was, if I had to, like, name a guy who, like, the offense, like, really ran through and was, like, the main playmaker, DeMar DeRozan was that guy. Like, DeMar DeRozan handled the ball the most. He was the guy that ran the offense. He was the guy that set the tempo. He was the guy that created the most shots for others. Kobe was the second guy, but if I had to say that there was a guy that had most like the ball the most of the time, or in essence like the guy that ran the point the most, I would say it was DeMar DeRozan. This year, obviously, like, Zach is ahead of Kobe in like the pecking order, but Levine's overall usage percentage is significantly less than DeMar DeRozan. I do think that, you know, with Giddey here and Vooch having a better season, that Kobe is maybe getting a little bit less of the ball overall. But I do think in general, it's been a very similar year for Kobe this year compared to last year. I just think that where people are a little bit like, well, he's adjusting to that being the point guard, from being the point guard to the 2-guard. I don't know if that's really true. I think that he was already, like, he was like the 2-guard last year, even though like he was technically the point because that was the position that he was at. But I still stand by that DeMar DeRozan was like the main guy last year. So it's not like Kobe went from being like, I have the ball in my hands all the time, to not having the ball in his hands this year. Like, he didn't have the ball constantly in his hands last year, and this year it's similar. So in terms of the overall usage percentage, though, if we want to look at that, right? So quick look at advanced here, but I haven't like fully looked at it, but I'm gonna assume it's similar. It's a lot. I hate NBA.com. Holy crap! Come on, load. Okay, so this year it's 22.5% overall. Actually, so I do think last year he did have more usage percentage. If I had to make a guess now, that's actually lower than I thought it was. No, it's actually similar. It's basically the exact same right now. I thought last year was about 24%, but no, I mean, the usage percentage is basically the exact same as last year. So, like, again, I'm not saying that like Kobe hasn't had to adjust. Like, he's had to adjust a little bit, but I think that overall it's a very similar role to last year. So I don't think it's really about him adjusting or anything. So yeah, I don't know. I overall just think that it's a it's a similar role for him, and he just hasn't exactly had the same efficiency. Now, remember, I just want to, just keep this in mind. So last year when Kobe started the year, okay, and Kobe was the starting point guard, he won the starting spot over Io. When it came to October last year, in terms of the start of the season, Kobe had a rough October. I mean, we're talking, I know it's only 4 games, but I mean, we're looking at a 30% from the field and 25% from 3. If you remember the Pistons game where Zach went off for 50, Kobe couldn't buy a shot in that game. It was bad. So yeah, I'm aware that it was only a 4-game little sample size here, if we want to go off of that, but just going off the game logs for Kobe, he really didn't have that great of a start to the year. I mean, we're talking about, again, poor efficiency, 0 for 4, 3 for 6, 4 of 12. This is a little bit better, but then 4 of 10, 11 points, right? It wasn't really until game 8, right? Until he really kind of found himself again. So this is just him. It's just we saw early on this year with Kobe that he had a until he really had early on, he was the Milwaukee game where he lit up the Bucks. So it was just kind of early on where it's just we got early Kobe where not a great start to the year, 35 points still in the second game, not a great third game, but then 20 points, 21, 28. But then recently though, the efficiency is just kind of plummeted, right? He got injured, so again, I do want to make that clear. He did get injured. But the efficiency recently has kind of gone downhill for him. So I'm concerned overall. I'm hoping again that maybe he can kind of, if there is an injury kind of nagging him, he can kind of figure it out. Because I think we all saw from Zach last year that Zach, not 100%, is just not as effective. So if Kobe's not 100%, he's just not as effective. But still, though, I do think that we have to have the discussion this is maybe just Kobe's ceiling. What we saw last year was kind of Kobe's best overall. Yeah, I think overall it's just, at the end of the day, it's kind of where it is. What's going on, Delbert? Kobe has 0.4% usage increase. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that was a basketball reference, but off of NBA.com, it's basically the same. It's 1% or 0.1%. Excuse me. Yeah, Marco was horrible until Zach went down and then got going. It wasn't really necessarily until when Zach went out. Kobe had some good games when Zach was still there, still playing. But then obviously when Zach did go out, he really did step up last year. And I think that it was against Boston. So this is the game where Zach went out. So I just want to make that clear. Zach went out after this game. But then then Kobe seriously took off. Where Milwaukee happened, where he hit some big shots, and then New Orleans, he really took off when Zach went out, but he had some really good games before Zach went out. So I don't want to just be oh, Zach LaVine is the problem. He's not. I want to make that clear. Zach isn't stopping Kobe from doing anything. I think Kobe honestly, should actually have some more success, arguably, next to Zach. It just hasn't worked out this year so far. Very interested in this game's breakdown, but sorry I have to watch later. I just need an interview. So okay, go ahead, Charles. I appreciate you checking in. Yeah, I appreciate a lot, Charles. Bod's always here. Don't worry. How you doing, Delbert? Thank you for checking in. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a lot. I appreciate it a lot, guys. I see that some of you have already done it, so I do truly appreciate that. Yeah. Back to this game though, just because not Delbert, sorry. Charles and I were kind of discussing because Kobe really didn't get going until the fourth quarter. And even then, it wasn't exactly that great of a game. Zach also really didn't have it going tonight either. So I do think that both teams had some rust. The Hornets haven't played in 5 days. Bulls haven't played in 4. So similar kind of rust that they had to kind of get off in this game, but better balance by the Bulls, obviously. Shooting percentages were just in the bin for both teams, so rust very clearly shown for both teams, but at the end of the day, I do think the Bulls did did better, faster pace. Some more guys, obviously, like Io had good efficiency, Giddy had good efficiency tonight, so that helped them win the game at the end of the day. We're playing faster without DeMar. That's what happens without DeMar DeRozan. Again, not to knock DeMar DeRozan, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense, honestly. Happy about it. 51 threes attempted tonight. I know that the Bulls only shot 27%, but I do appreciate the 51 threes. That needs to continue. I don't know. Okay, there it is. Cool. Give me 1 second here as I pull up tonight's game. There's a few things I want to show you guys. I do have to kind of, it's not gonna be that long of a stream, so I know I've already kind of talked for almost an hour, but stream will be ending, I guess, in like the next like 40 minutes, so I'm not gonna be going until midnight or anything like that, like we usually do here. But I want to show you a few things, because I think that one of the things that I was looking at coming out or coming into tonight was like, okay, the Bulls had 4 days off. Monday was a rest day, but then Tuesday through Thursday were all practices. They scrimmaged. It's been reported that they scrimmaged a lot. So I was just interested, like, what did the Bulls bring tonight that was different? I'm not going to go over anything defensively, because I don't really want to do that. I do think that defensively, though, the Bulls look a lot better in terms of their switching on ball and off ball. I just want to say that I appreciate that a lot more tonight. I think that was good. There were still some miscommunications at moments, but the defensive switching was a lot better tonight. And I hope that can just stay consistent. Again, not asking this team to be a good defensive team. I'm just asking them just to switch right. Just don't have those stupid little defensive miscues that we've been seeing a lot from them throughout the year. So I'm hoping that can continue. But offensively, though, there are some new wrinkles, and I do want to show you a few of those new wrinkles tonight. And the biggest thing I want to kind of focus on is how they use Josh Giddey as a screener tonight. So one of the things that the Bulls, I think, have been kind of thinking about is, okay, so Giddey has recently not had the ball in his hands as much compared to like at the start of the year. It's been there, he had the ball like a little bit more than usual tonight. But you're seeing, though, that the Bulls are kind of adapting. Like, okay, he's not necessarily like the point guard or like the main playmaker of this team right now. So how can we use Josh Giddey when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, but still kind of use his skill set? And what better night to try to do something different when Vooch is out, right? So your main screener for the Bulls, which is Vucevic, was out tonight. So let's watch this play. So Giddey brought the ball up court, right? But that does not mean that he initiated this offense, okay? He brought the ball up, but he's going to throw it to Zach immediately, as you're going to watch here, okay? So what I like about this, okay, there's a few things that I want to just point out in this possession. This is something that the Boston Celtics do a lot, okay? One of the things that the Boston Celtics like to do is their big man is out on the perimeter. So instead of them always like kind of setting the screen, for example, so let's say if Giddey was Vucevic, this would be Vooch here sometimes, and like they'll set the screen, right? But what that does is that it brings the big man to the middle of the floor here to be involved in the action. And if it's a good rim protector, that's maybe not exactly the best decision, right? So instead, though, you'll see like Porzingis and Hal Horford, they'll be on the perimeter, right? So as you can see here, Jalen Smith is on the perimeter. But more importantly, what this does, though, the Boston Celtics always put this little guard here on baseline or in the dunkers area, okay? Now, if you're wondering, why is this effective? Well, let's think about this, right? So a lot of times, the guy here, right, is a big man or the center, or if it's not the center, it's a power forward maybe, right? This is the dunker spot or baseline, right? If, let's say, for example, Zach LaVine was able to, let's say there's no screen here, Zach LaVine drove to the basket, right? The first person that's going to come over and help is going to be Micic in this sort of situation, okay? So Micic would be the first line of defense to come over and rotate to help. As good of a player Vasilij Micic is, he is not a shot blocker, right? Micic is by no means a shot blocker. He doesn't have the size of a Mark Williams or others, right? He is not a shot blocker. Therefore, what this does is that if you put your guard here, okay, and the guard defender is with them, that puts them in a very stressful spot because they're going to be like the first rotator if a drive is happening, and they're not going to have the ability to do too much, right? The best they can do is take a charge, okay? But that's the best thing that they could possibly do. So I like this from the Bulls just out of the gate. They're like, okay, switch up, right? So we don't have Vooch tonight. We have Jalen Smith instead. So Jalen Smith's going to be out on the perimeter. Mark Williams actually was the guy guarding Josh Giddey here. So I do appreciate that the Bulls kind of recognized it and like, okay, let's just, let's make sure that we get Giddey involved here because Williams is going to be the guy guarding Giddey tonight, which is not a bad idea from Cliff Lee. So this is the action, okay? Josh Giddey here is being used as a screener, okay? We've seen Josh Giddey a lot be the ball handler, right? And someone else comes to set a screen for Giddey, and then he'll use it, right? This time, though, for Giddey, he's a screener. So Zach's the ball handler, Josh Giddey is the screener, and Josh is going to, in a sense, roll, okay? As you can see here, Giddey kind of set like a little slip screen, okay? And Zach is going to be the main kind of guy to bring, kind of penetrate the defense. As you can see here, nothing really came out of it, so they reset, and I think that Giddey does a good job here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, never mind. This is the IO 3-point shot. But overall, though, again, it didn't result in anything in this sort of play, but I do like it. I like the idea. I like the concept. I just, better execution moving forward. I think a better screen would have helped put more pressure on the defense. But for Giddey, right, because he is not exactly having the ball as much, and being like the guy that is has the ball and the screen is set for him, right, with the basketball. This is kind of an adaptation, okay, where you can have Giddey be a guy that is setting the screen. And so, for example, let's just roll it back here. Let's instead say that Zach decided to give the ball to Josh Giddey right here. Let's say that the defense hard committed to Zach. So Zach drew 2 in this area, and so you pass the ball off to Giddey. Then Josh, okay, he would need to be a scoring threat first and foremost. But in this sort of situation here, okay, you have Micic as your rim protector. That's not going to be that effective. So Giddey should hopefully be able to score in this sort of situation if Zach did draw 2 and Zach gave him the basketball. Obviously that didn't happen, but the concept again is there. But also, this is then kind of where like the Draymond Green is kind of coming out for the Bulls and Josh Giddey, right? Where instead of Green, he makes like the decision like, oh, should I pass this? Should I just roll hard and just try to score it? Giddey is able to use his passing ability off of Zach's, gravity, right? So let's say Zach drew 2, okay? So Zach's gravity was able to draw 2, okay? Now Giddey is then able to, because 2 have already been drawn, so he didn't have to do that. Giddey now, though, if he has the ball, let's say Zach passing the ball here, Giddey now has the decision to whether to dump it off, if someone rotates in, then throw it off to the 3-point line, right? Whether it's Jacoby or Smith, right? Or just go up and score. So you're kind of getting what you need in this sort of possession where you see that the defense is drawn to obviously your best player in Zach, but then you're able to use Giddey's IQ, passing, etc. in this sort of short pick and roll set. Hence, what the Warriors do a lot with Draymond Green. It's very similar to what Draymond Green's role is, right? Draymond Green's a hell of a passer. He is not a guy that's going to be drawing defense, right? But if you can use Steph Curry to come over and draw 2 and then put the defense in a 4v3 situation, and someone hard commits to Green off of that, right? Then Green obviously has done, we've seen all the time, the lob up to Kevon Looney or others, baseline, and the Warriors always continue to get good value out of it. So it's just similar concept at the end of the day. And I like it. I really do like it overall. We'll see how effective it is at the end of the day, because I know this is something Giddey probably hasn't done too much of, but this is good. I think this is a solid overall kind of just baseline thing to kind of work with, and hopefully Giddey can continue getting better at it. Ideally, then he develops a 3-point shot so that he's a threat to also fade and not just be a roll threat. I think that would be a solid decision overall. So let me show you then a similar play. to where they're using Giddy more as a screener instead of him being kind of like the main ball handler in a sense. So here's a another play kind of early on where it's a similar action. So this is off of Hornets miss here. So in transition, okay, you already see that the Bulls are kind of heading into this sort of action where Zach has the ball. Oh, sorry. Zach has the ball, and Giddy's gonna come up and set a high screen and roll for Zach. Okay, so let's watch this. So screen is set for Zach. Ideally, just because the defender went under the screen, I would want Zach just to shoot this, but he decided not to. That's fine though. Brandon Miller is still Brandon Miller at the end of the day. And so Zach sees like, okay, I have Brandon Miller on me and Mark Williams. I got to throw this off to Giddy. So this is ideally where then Giddy, if he had the 3-point shot in his arsenal, he would be a threat right now, because you see that Mark Williams is like, hey, I'm playing drop zone defense. If Giddy was a 3-point shooter, Mark Williams is in trouble. But because he's not exactly a 3-point shooter, this is not something that is going to be as effective at the moment. But what Giddy does have that maybe Draymond Green doesn't have is this sort of ability where he can kind of fake handoff and then try to drive with a little bit better ball handling than maybe Green has. So you saw it here, right, where instead of Giddy trying to be the main playmaker, draw to, penetrate the defense and then make decisions, he's right now being kind of put up in a spot to kind of make decisions, but in a better spot to go and score and not have as much pressure on him compared to when he's trying to handle the ball. Okay. So I like this a lot. I'm interested to see if this is what's going to be used if Vooch is in the lineup. I do think that maybe the Bulls kind of went to this a little bit more because Vooch was out of the lineup, because your main pick and roll option is obviously Vucevic, right? And because he wasn't there today, maybe they're like, okay, let's just have Josh be kind of the main screener tonight. But I would like to also see this run with Vucevic in the lineup, because we know Vooch right now, at the very least, is a 3-point threat. And even if he isn't, just having him in the dunker spot, I think is a good decision. Because he'll still be a threat there. So, again, just a new wrinkle to the offense I think the Bulls added tonight. I like it overall. I think it's a solid idea, concept. The execution isn't exactly quite there yet between all the players, but I think that at the end of the day, it's a nice idea to have. So I'm hoping that this sort of thing for the Bulls can work out, because if Giddy can kind of be this sort of like Swiss Army knife as like a pick and roll like a screener, and kind of have him in positions where he can kind of make good passes, and it's not all on him to draw the defensive attention to him, so they can make good passes, that I think this is a good kind of way to ease into it. I have more ideas in my head. I'm not going to go through them in terms of like how I can maybe get Giddy in like this spot a little bit more often. For example, if you watch the Warriors, right, one of the things that they use a lot is the split action, right, where Draymond's in the post, but Draymond's not looking to pass or not looking to score in the post, he's looking to pass. But what they do a lot with the split action that happens, Draymond comes up and hands off the ball, and then Draymond is then kind of in a similar spot to what we just are witnessing here. So there's that sort of idea, but I'm not gonna like be too critical of it, because I do think Giddy at the end of the day, because Draymond is a forward, Giddy came up as a guard. He is not playing quote unquote forward, but Giddy at the end of the day is a guard in his head. So if this is the idea, then I like it. Let's just try to see how much they can get out of it, and try to see if maybe we can get some lob opportunities from Giddy to maybe a Buzelis or a Julian Phillips from this sort of action. So again, I like it. We'll see how it works out moving in the future. What's going on, Viper Strike? No worries about being late. Appreciate you just checking in. Giddy played good D, and need him to keep it up is the only idea I got in my head. So basically, Viper Strike, I'll just quickly go over what we've been talking about. So the Bulls use Giddy a lot as a screener tonight. So this is something that's different from the Bulls from obviously previous games. but just a quick look at it. This is kind of what the Bulls were doing a little bit more of tonight. It wasn't like all game, but this is kind of how like I got a little bit different wrinkle into the offense from the break, and I like it. I think that this is just a good solid idea for the Bulls, which is you have Giddy be the screener, right? And let's say if Zach does draw 2, right? Then if Zach passes in the ball, then suddenly it's a 4v3 situation, but Giddy didn't have to draw the 2 defenders, right? He's now able to use his passing ability, but he didn't have to draw the defense, right? So again, it's similar to Draymond Green. It's a very similar concept to what Draymond Green is doing right now with Golden State. So yeah. I saw you had some gross looking screens with his hands. Yeah, so Giddy I think needs to be a better screener. I don't mind a slip screen. Like I think a slip screen is pretty effective overall. And I don't mind that whatsoever. But I do think that with Giddy, if he learns to set better screens, right, then I think it will be more effective. One of the things that Draymond is very underrated with, like Draymond is only like 6'6", but he is one hell of a screener. Bigger body, but still with Giddy, if he can figure out some way to be a better screener overall, and then then kind of implement the slip screens, then I like where it's going. Again, I do like where it's going. The other part about it is that just pay attention to this. So basically at the start of this play, you have Iowa sitting in the dunker spot. This is something the Boston Celtics are doing a lot more of recently. They're putting in guys like Drew Holiday and Derek White here so that their defensive guard is then there, right? So in this sort of instance, let's say, forget the screen roll. Well, let's just say that Io is here. Zach gets a line drive to the basket. The first guy to come over and, contest a shot is Vasilije Micic, right? So instead of it being a shot blocker in this sort of spot, right, you're putting arguably the smallest guy on the floor in a spot to come to either rim protect or take a charge, right? So I think the Bulls are starting to recognize this a little bit better, where it's like, instead of always having maybe like Patrick Williams here or Buzelis here, or maybe sometimes Vooch is there, if you can invert it where the big man's out on the perimeter, hence what Jalen Smith is doing, and then you have your guard standing here, it puts a lot of pressure then if their defender comes with them to that spot, then that small guard has a lot of pressure on them to be a rim protector, right? The best, in my opinion, that they can do is just draw a charge. So there's obviously, the Kyle Lowrys of the world that can draw those charges, or, Alex Caruso's. But if it's just a typical point guard that's there, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure put on them because they're the first rotator. And that just puts them in a very tough spot, because that's not something that they want to be doing, obviously, if they're being put in this sort of position. So I like this. I just think that the Bulls are they're understanding, like, oh, hey, like, this is an idea. Let's make sure that we can maximize where we are on the court to maybe get some easier shots for our guys at the end of the day. So, yeah, I like it overall. Execution could obviously be better, but at the end of the day, I appreciate just concepts being implemented and the guys trying them, even if it doesn't exactly go to plan for the first time when you do try them. Other thing just to keep in mind, so I know that we are focusing heavily on Josh Giddey. I do think that he had a pretty solid game overall tonight, but just so you're seeing how teams are guarding him, I just want to point this out. So this is an example where Josh did have the ball in his hands. So like, this is not him setting a screen. This is where a screen gets set for him. So in transition, Hornets just missed. Josh is bringing the ball up the court. Jalen Smith comes up, sets a screen. Just pay attention. So again, if you're wondering who was guarding Josh Giddey at the start of the game, it was Mark Williams, who is the center. They put Miles Bridges on Jalen Smith to start the game. So they were just basically just saying, hey, Giddey, we dare you to make the three. So just watch, okay? Mark Williams sees the screen is coming. He goes under the screen. This is all intentional. So, like, they're basically just daring Giddey, just like, hey, score, okay? This is personally what I would do if I was the opposing team against Josh Giddey. I'd be like, I dare you to score every time down here. I dare you. Giddey hits this, so props to him for hitting this. But this needs to obviously be the consistent thing. He went 3 for 8 tonight. He hit some catch and shoot 3-point shots, so that's great. But this is the next step for him. Like, I don't think he's going to become a better finisher at the rim. I don't think he's going to, you know, suddenly grow another 2 inches, or get a bigger wingspan or a better verticality. But what I do think, though, is that he can be a better 3-point shooter. And if he has that in his arsenal, then stuff like this won't happen, where, you know, guys go under the screen against him. But also then he becomes a better threat off when he is setting the screen. I think that's a good thing to have as a more off-ball player, which he's adjusting to. That's something that I hope is in his arsenal moving forward. So just wanted to point that out. I do also want to show you guys this. There is a nice shot here by Dosunmu, and I think, let's see. All right, trying to get the clip for you guys here. Okay. He did sort of surprise me with his finishing one time today, where the play went long and he bailed him out with a contested layup. I don't remember if you remember. So that was in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Zach kind of got stuck in the corner. He lost the ball twice, but then recovered it. And Zach threw it out to him with like 6 seconds to go, and then Giddey drove and finished it. Yeah. Again, I don't think that's going to be consistent. I don't think that will be consistent for him moving forward. We saw some block shots where his layups got blocked today. So, yeah, if he can find a way to finish, that'd be fantastic. But I just don't think that's going to get better, unfortunately. Again, it's not like he's just going to suddenly start jumping higher. So, yeah, we'll see. I just want to point this one out because I do think that this is cool to see. Bulls haven't ran this too often, but this is basically, this is a horn set. I did a lot of ball handling today, and I do appreciate that he did that. I think that's a good decision by Donovan and co. So here, this is basically like a horn set. So this little start here, so you have your 1, and then you have your 2 guys here and 2 guys in the corner. But you see here, off of this is basically like, it's not exactly Iverson action, but it's similar. But I do like this, okay? A lot of people expect that this is going to be a little rip screen for Io to go back into the paint. Watch the difference in this sort of action, okay? Instead of that, you have a stagger screen set by the Bulls, okay? And then there was one set by Io, right? Kobe took it, and then here comes Sanogo with then this sort of action, right? So Io set his screen. Now Sanogo is going to come up and set his screen and do this. So I like this a lot. It didn't result into anything, but I like the concept. This is then thrown to Io as a bail me out, pretty much. Spacing exactly wasn't exactly great here. You know, hopefully that can continue for Io. But Io in the starting lineup has been fantastic. He came into tonight as a starter. He's shooting like 56% from the field, averaging 16 points per game as a starter on 38% from 3-point range. That went up tonight after a 19.8 of 12 from the field performance. So I'm interested to see what the Bulls do with Io once P. Will was like back to being fully healthy. Io in the starting lineup though has been fantastic. As a starter, he's been great. So I'm very interested to see what the Bulls decide to do with him. Because I personally, honestly, like I don't know what the idea would be with P. Will, but as long as Io is playing this well, then I would just personally just start Io moving forward. But I'm aware that P. Will is, got paid the contract, so there's always politics in the NBA. Yeah, I'll just be interested to just kind of look at it, because I think that Io has deserved the starting spot, in my humble opinion. Next play I want to show you is actually right after that floater shot. I did said I don't want to really talk about defense, but I do want to just show you Buzelis here, because Buzelis he had a lot of great moments on defense tonight. Offense struggle. It's okay though. I'm not too worried about it. I think he is moving pretty well still in the offense. Just finishing at the rim is gonna be a struggle for him right now. But this right here for Buzelis is why I get excited for him as like an off-ball kind of help defender, but also just playing the 4. If he was kind of being like the main point of attack defender, I don't think he's able to do this as often. But right here, as you can see, this was awesome. So just pay attention to Matas' entire possession, okay? So this is a screen, okay? Buzelis has to get through this, okay? Actually, they didn't set the screen. I didn't even realize that. So that's a mess up on the Hornets. But you see here, Buzelis is stuck to Salon. I don't know if that's how you say it. Like glue, pretty much here. So staying on him, right? Now, this is the pick and roll set here. Basically on this side of the floor. So now Matas is in weak side help, okay? He is in the weak side, but he's the first rotator to come over and help on this sort of play. So good awareness here by Buzelis, as I do think that Kobe messed up here. Kobe should not be letting baseline open. Kobe needs to force him this way into Sonogo, but it's okay. Buzelis recognized, okay, this is what's happening. I come on over. This right here, like, people aren't going to be talking about this, but this is his effectiveness, okay? Martin here was scared to take this shot because he saw Buzelis coming over, and he's not going to get a layup off if he decides to shoot a layup. Like, that's not going to show up in the box score. That's not going to be tallied as a block. That's not going to be a highlight play. But that's the effect that Buzelis can have as a help defender at the 4, okay? I think this is honestly going to be his main spot at the 4 position. But he came on over, good timing, good awareness, comes on over, forces his pass out. So now Buzelis helped, right, on this sort of play. Now he has to recover back out to the corner on this play because he was the guy that helped, but Martin made a nice pass out, and now it's being swung to the corner where Buzelis was initially playing. So he gets out to the corner and recovers on time so that Saloon cannot get the shot off. So Buzelis came over to help on the Martin drive, and he came out to stop the Saloon 3-point shot here. And then he is now, because of he had to run out there, Saloon gets a step on him, but then just keep watching, okay? This is good help by Sonogo, but Buzelis does a good job of slowing him down. Pass is then thrown out here to Richards, if I'm not mistaken. And Buzelis then switches off of his man, goes up to Richards, who's a bigger guy than him, and he fell for the initial pump fake, but then he was able to keep his ball tracking alive and then came down and got on the second attempt. That entire possession for Buzelis was fantastic, okay? Everything about this for Buzelis was awesome. This is what gets me excited for Buzelis, okay? This is the reason why I've been saying that I want him to be the 4 instead of him trying to be out on the perimeter guarding guys. Like, I think he can be an effective perimeter defender, like point of attack defender. But in my opinion, all this right here is just showing how good he can be if he's the help defender, if he's the 4, playing the 4 and being able to rotate effectively. It is on him though to, have that defensive awareness and to have that sort of awareness on the rotations. Like, okay, I gotta help on this guy, but then I gotta be able to bolt out to this guy, and then defense is on a string, but he's a big part of that, right? This right here though, again, like, he's not the perimeter or main perimeter defender here, right? This is all just him being a good help defender and rotating effectively, and then at the end of the day getting the block shot. Like, I love this for Tottenham. That's everything in one possession. That is Buzelis, and I'm hoping the Bulls can unlock this in him consistently, because that right there, in my opinion, like, I'm being real, that's a Giannis-like type of defense. Like, what the Bucks did with Giannis a lot is that they wouldn't have him necessarily guarding the guy on the perimeter all the time, because they think he's a better help defender. They think that he's a guy that can always come over and rotate, but then also get back out to guys effectively and not come out on roller skates, right? So Giannis, while like a lot of people are like, why isn't he guarding KD or why isn't he not guarding Tatum? Like, Giannis is doing more of that this year, but under Budenholzer, they wouldn't have him doing that all the time. They would actually have him guarding more, just like being a help defender. This right there right, is that entire possession, that is Giannis-esque, okay? He is not Giannis because Giannis is still Giannis at the end of the day. But that right there, that effectiveness on defense is Giannis-esque. That's something right there that Patrick Williams cannot do, okay? So when people talk about P. Will playing the 4 or whatever, this is something that Patrick Williams cannot do on defense, okay? He doesn't have the length and size to do what Buzelis just did in this possession, okay? And he doesn't have the shot blocking ability and ball tracking. But if Buzelis can have this, unlocked consistently, then defensively, man, we're looking at a serious game changer. Lonzo's been, a great off-ball defender all year long when he has played. But right here, man, this right here is like, this is what I was really, really, really happy about when it came to Buzelis when I watched him, and I'm extremely excited to see that we're starting to see it in game. Like, this is it. I'm hoping that we can continue to see more of it from Buzelis. Buzelis also had 2 more blocks this game, so this obviously wasn't like the only block that he had, and it was more so just on like, he was beat on initial step, but he recovered and blocked a shot. So it wasn't as impressive as this sort of action right here, but again, right here, man, this entire clip right here is why I'm excited for him. It's a question if he can have this, pulled out of him consistently all the time, but I'm praying to God that this is gonna be what Buzelis brings on a nightly basis, because this will be so effective on the defensive end of the court. Oh yeah, I was just thinking about the Giannis comp for that play. I mean, honestly, this is Giannis-esque. Like, that defensive possession by Buzelis was Giannis-esque, and I'm hoping that we can continue saying that. What happened to that one play after the lob from Lonzo Zach we didn't get to see on Chicago Sports Network because of the replay, which has pissed me off all year. There's a turnover. Honestly, Rob, I remember the Lonzo lob. I couldn't tell you what happened. I do apologize. I'm just as much in the dark as you are. If I put him in the gym regiment that Giannis is on, we can talk. Bro, if Buzelis is able to just jack up to what Giannis suddenly did, like that one off season, that'd be awesome. I don't think Buzelis really has the body type for it, but also Giannis came in as like 100, 75-pound skinny guy. So who knows, honestly. But yeah, man, if Buzelis is able to seriously add that sort of strength, we're seriously talking about a guy defensively that is going to be an absolute monster. Steroids? No, it's not steroids. That would be funny though, honestly. We put Buzelis on steroids. Yeah. Hornets were pushing off and holding and hooking guys often and one only got called at the very end of one Smith play and people rebound. So yeah, I do think that the Hornets, but here's the thing though. The Hornets on the glass are very good. Like, I just want to make that clear. The Hornets as a team are very good on the glass. They do a damn good job of getting rebounds. So it's not shocking to see that they kind of have like these little tricks to try to get some good positioning for rebounding, or trying to sneak a little push to get a rebound. But that's not shocking to me. The Bulls also, no Vooch hurt, but I think the Bulls did a good job. They didn't give up. Like the second chance points difference was 7. So the Hornets, it's only 7 more points in terms of second chance points. And the point difference was only 6. So while the Hornets are bigger, I think the Bulls did a good job of like making sure it wasn't that big of a difference at the end of the day. And then the rebounding battle was also very similar, if I'm not mistaken. 65 to 62. Yeah, so still, like, you see that the Bulls did a good job. A lot of missed shots, though. I mean, hell, when both teams shoot under 40% and then under 25% from three-point range in the same game, then, yeah, not shocking to see all the rebounds. We showed a replay and overlap so much, we didn't see one, if anyone would really know, except maybe a Hornets replay. Oh, honestly, I guess I could look to see now. Like, the play should probably be in at this point. Yeah, I guess Zach turned the ball over, but it's not. You can even see here that NBA.com doesn't even have it because of the broadcast didn't show it. So like they didn't put it in. So we don't really know. Um, yeah, sorry. You think Montas also has the Giannis type of dribbling ability? Um, so when I watch Buzelis, his dribbling ability, like there are moments where I look at it and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty nice. Like it's tight. It looks solid. In control. But then there are other moments like I think we even saw it today where he just look like if I don't know if you guys ever listened to Isaiah Thomas, the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, talk about dribbling, but like for Isaiah Thomas there was a box basically like him and like the older generation were like here's a box, you stay within the box, and so Isaiah Thomas would just like his dribbling was all within the box. Then there's Allen Iverson that came into the league and was like okay like we're gonna like do like big in and outs and a lot of motion, but still stay in control. With Buzelis, he has these moments where it looks like his like the ball just kind of goes everywhere. So it's very much outside the box, but like he just doesn't have much control of it. And I'm fine with it, being like kind of a lot of motion, but you just got better control over it. The one thing that I am a little bit concerned about is just because of his just kind of his build. He has like a high center of gravity, and so like basically what I mean is that if he's trying to like dribble hard, he's kind of like, it's almost like he's like falling over in a sense. And so like one little thing, like one little mess up of his dribble, or like one little thing gets out of sync, and like all of a sudden it's all messed up, hard to recover. So there's that. That's a little bit concerning, but what I want to make clear is this: Giannis's footwork doesn't get enough credit. He gets a lot of, a lot of people give a lot of crap because travel's called and like it's like, oh, he just pushes. But Giannis's footwork is really good. He really measures his feet well on every single move that he makes. With Buzelis, he probably doesn't have to. He's not going to have that ability because he's not as big as Giannis. But I do think that in terms of where they came into the league, what you're saying, Viper Strike, like I think Buzelis' dribbling ability is better than what Giannis was when he came into the league. So I'm interested to see what does happen. But I will say, Giannis was then thrown into being the point guard for the Bucks. If you guys remember that, when Jason Kidd was still running the team, they basically just like, yeah, we're just gonna Giannis run point and just see what happens. And so they gave him the ball pretty much every single time. So with Buzelis, that's not going to happen for obvious reasons. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that his dribbling is bad or anything. I just think that that's just going to be the plan for him. And so, yeah, if Buzelis is able to kind of get good with the footwork and then just kind of tighten up his dribbling, I don't need it to be like anything spectacular. I think he has the moves already. I've seen the crossover. If he's able to get it off cleanly, it looks fine. And I think that he has the step back kind of already set in stone if he is able to get that off cleanly. So, yeah, if he can just like tighten it up, then I'm looking forward to what he can do. That's not what we need to do this season. I've kind of made it clear I don't need to see that for this year. What I needed to see from this year is what I just showed you guys, and him playing more off ball, catch and shoot 3-point shots, get within the flow of the offense. But come second year, third year, if he's having more on ball opportunities, I'd be all for it. Just to kind of see what he has. And what he's shown from the G League so far, like, yeah, I can see a vision where he can be a good ball handler and be a good dribble penetrator. It's gonna take some work though. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. The good thing though that I will say is that no matter what he has over Giannis in terms of the difference in their games, he has the ability to shoot off the dribble already. Like I don't have any fear that's going to be a problem. So like if Buzelis has to take 2 dribbles and just pull up, I know he can get that shot off easily. So I'm hoping that's gonna stay. What needs to obviously get better though is like the whole, if I have a a fast break opportunity and it's like a one-on-one, how can my dribbling help me get that advantage so I can score on that guy? Hence what Giannis does consistently, where it's a one-on-one fast break between him and somebody else, and he just straight up is able to just get to the rim easily. Part of it is obviously his length, and part of it is his strength, but Giannis does a good job of really setting up the guy, and making sure that they're off balance. I mean, he is just young. Dribbling is something not going to be there for most rookies. I understand that. It's just, I think that more recently you've seen kind of when rookies do come into the league, like their handles, like some guys' handles are like already really solid. So I just want to point that out. Did Giannis have good dribbling right away? No. Giannis, he got 6'8", skinny guy. Not the greatest dribbling right away. So it's kind of high in drives. I do think that Buzelis dribbles a little bit high in drives. Yeah. But I think for ball handling, it might be running fast transition closer to IO moments than Messi. Yeah, he can definitely get there. Where it gets a little bit messy. But again, though, like that's just about like understanding timing, right? I think because Buzelis is bigger, it'll get cleaned up. And speaking of sort of nasty thing to watch in the NBA, that's another thing he has above Giannis. Oh, for sure, yeah. I will say though, Giannis makes it when it counts. Like, in the 50 piece that he had in the finals against the Suns to win it, like he seriously makes it when it counts. But yeah, Buzelis already has a leg up on him on that. Better form, and hey, if Buzelis is able to hit the three already, like, well, first and foremost, again, like. Buzelis is not going to be Giannis. Like, he won't be a 33 point per game scorer on like 60% efficiency and like dominating the paint like Giannis is. Like, he's not going to ever be that. Giannis is a freak. I think Buzelis is like a different kind of freak if he can kind of put it all together, but he's not going to be Giannis. Okay. Buzelis will have to rely a little bit more on his perimeter shooting and ability to score more than what Giannis obviously has to rely on. But in terms of having that sort of forward, like that big forward that can handle the ball effectively and find ways to really penetrate the defense as a forward that can also have that size, like, yeah, that'd be really nice to have. And I really hope that he can kind of put it all together and give us that. Who's shooting benefits from that? He never seems to question if you should shoot. Oh, for sure. Said it all the time. Would much rather just have him just launch every shot, even if it's, not exactly the best shot in the world. Would much rather you just shoot more than you should, and I try to reel you back than basically beg you to shoot an open look. Even at the rim often, he is like, that's just sure, I will just go for it without a thought. Oh, yeah. I mean, hence tonight, he went 1 for 11. A lot of shots were blocked at the rim for him, and it's just like, that's fine. Like, I can live with it, but the fact that you're willing to go and challenge like Mark Williams, I think that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. It'll get better over time. But to just be willing to challenge these guys is great. Like, go up, and if you ever get the basketball and you make the quick decision, like, I'm just gonna go score, that's good. And I do think that he will be, he will need to have the off-ball capabilities that he's so far showing early on. Montes' inside fadeaways. So he has that. Like, he does have like the inside fadeaway, which I've seen a lot from his G League highlights. It's solid. Like, I'm not saying that like that's something that like he needs to just get rid of, but that's something definitely for like down the road. But yeah, I do think that's something that you can kind of harness for future opportunities. All right, y'all. If you have not already hit the like button, please do. Helps me out a lot. Appreciate y'all checking out on the stream tonight. We had over 50 people checking out on the stream, so I do appreciate that. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday night to join me for a Bulls win tonight. Thank you for all for checking in and chatting. If you did chat, it's awesome. I really do appreciate it. I do have to end the stream though because I have to get up early tomorrow. I know it's Saturday, but I know it's Saturday for you guys, but it's not Saturday for me in terms of work. So I do have to get up early tomorrow. Overall, I do think this was a weird game just because both teams had a long time off. Russ was very clearly evident, so not too shocking to see the bad shooting percentages. So the Bulls are going to have some more time off. They do not play for the rest of this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, the Bulls do not play. The Bulls do play again on Monday. So I will be seeing you guys Monday at about 9 p.m. Central Time, assuming that's when the game does end. And then after that, we face Boston. So that's going to be fun. Be on the lookout, though, for... I'm sorry. I just keep shouting this out, but I can't ever guarantee a time because let's just say that there are some changes happening within my house for that does affect my streaming setup. So I don't know when it's gonna happen. I just want you guys to know that I tried to start stream basically when the game ended and my internet died basically right when I started stream. So I tried to start stream like pretty much immediately and my internet just went out. Hence some of the changes happening in my house at the moment. So there is a stream that is not going to involve Bulls Postgame that is coming soon. I just need to figure out when I'm able to do that, and hopefully the internet is working. So just be on the lookout for that. It might be this weekend. I seriously doubt it, but just be on the lookout for it because I know the Bulls aren't playing as much kind of in the next couple of days. So just be on the lookout. Just once again, thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun talking with you guys. Thank you for all participating in chat and in the comment section, and also just watching the VODs. I've been seeing that you guys have been watching a lot of the VODs, and I do appreciate it. So once again, just a big thank you and big shout out to you guys for allowing me to do this. It's been a lot of fun. And hopefully we're building an overall solid community in here. And it's thanks to you guys. It's not just, it's not just me trying to build it. It's also you guys as well. Bulls play again on Monday, so I will be seeing you guys on Monday. And we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, y'all. Peace out, y'all. I got to go to sleep, though. I do apologize, but peace out.